सुरपालका हरे
रूपासने स्वे हृदि छिद्रवत्सतः
उपासने स्वे हृदि छिद्रवत्सतः
स्यात्मनः सख्युरशेषदेहिनां
स्वस्यात्मना सख्युरशेषदेहिनाम्
सामान्यतः किं विषयोपपादनै
सामान्यतः किं विषयोपपादनै कोटि प्रयासो सुरबालका हरे
उपासने स्वे हृदि छिद्रवत्सतः
उपासने स्वे हृदि छिद्रवत्सतः
स्वस्यात्मनः सख्युरशेषदेहिनां
स्वस्यात्मना सख्युरशेषदेहिनाम्
सामान्यतः किं विषयोपपादने
सामान्यतः किं विषयोपपादने कोटि प्रयासो सुरबालका हरे कोटि प्रयासो सुरबालका हरे उपासने स्वे हृदि छिद्रवत्सतः उपासने स्वे हृदि छिद्रवत्सतः स्वस्यात्मना सख्युरशेषदेहिनाम् स्वस्यात्मना सख्युरशेषदेहिनाम् सामान्यता किं विषयोपपादनै सामान्यता किं विषयोपपादनै
All right. Please repeat after me. Kaha.
Kaha.
What?
What?
Ati prayasaha.
Ati prayasaha.
Difficult endeavor.
Difficult endeavor.
Asura balaka.
Asura balakaha.
Those sons of the demons.
O sons of the demons.
Hare
Hare.
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
On the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Upasane.
Upasane.
In discharging the devotional service.
In discharging the devotional service.
Sway.
Sway.
In one's own.
In one's own.
Hrithi. Core of the heart.
Core of the heart.
Chidravat.
Chidravat.
Just like the space.
Just like the space.
Tataha.
Tataha.
Who always exists.
Who always exists.
Swasya.
Swasya.
Of oneself or of the living entity.
Of oneself or of the living entity.
Atmanaha.
Atmana.
Of the super soul.
Of the super soul.
Sakyuhu.
Sakyuhu.
Of the well-wishing friend.
Of the well-wishing friend.
Ashesha.
Ashesha.
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
Dehinam.
Dehinam.
Of the embodied souls.
Of the embodied souls.
Samanyataha.
Samanyataha.
Generally.
Generally.
Kim.
Kim.
What is the need?
What is the need?
Vishya Upapadanai.
Vishaya upapadane.
With activities delivering the objects of the senses for sense enjoyment.
With activities of the objects of the senses for sense enjoyment.
Translation. Oh, my friends, sons of the Asuras, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his supersoul features always exist within the cores of the hearts of all living entities. Indeed, he is the well-wisher and friend of all living entities. And there is no difficulty in worshiping the Lord. Why, then, should people not engage in his devotional service? Why are they so addicted to unnecessarily producing artificial paraphernalia for sense gratification? Purport. Because the personality of Godhead is supreme, no one is equal to him, and no one is greater than him. Nonetheless, if one is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord is easily obtainable. The Lord is compared to the sky because the sky is vast, yet within the reach. The Lord is compared to the sky because the sky is vast, yet within the reach of all, not only of human beings, but even of the animals. The Supreme Lord in his Paramatma feature exists as the best well-wisher and friend. As confirmed in the Vedas, the Lord in his supersoul feature always stays in the heart along with the living entity. The Lord is so friendly to the living entity that he remains within the heart. so that one can always contact him without difficulty. One could do this simply by devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. As soon as one hears of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Kirtan, one immediately comes in touch with the Lord. A devotee immediately comes in touch with the Lord by any or all of the items of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vananam, Dasam, Sakyam, Manavedam. Therefore, there is no difficulty in coming in contact with the Supreme Lord. Oti Priyasana. On the other hand, going to hell requires great endeavor. If one wants to go to hell by illicit sex, eating, gambling, and intoxication, he must acquire so many things. For illicit sex, he must arrange for money, for brothels. For meat eating, he must arrange for many slaughterhouses. For gambling, he must arrange for casinos and hotels. And for intoxication, he must open many breweries. Clearly, therefore, if one wants to go to hell, he must endeavor very much. But if he wants to return home back to Godhead, there's no difficult endeavor. To go back to Godhead, one may live alone anywhere in any condition and simply sit down, meditate upon the Supersoul, and chant and hear about the Lord. Thus, there's no difficulty in approaching the Lord. Adanta Govir Vishitam Tamisam. Because of inability to control the senses, one must go through great endeavor to go to hell. But if one is sensible, he can very easily obtain the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the Lord is always with him. By the simple method of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, the Lord is satisfied. Indeed, the Lord says, Bhaktam Vishnu Phalam Toyam Yome Bhakti Priyachati Tadaham Bhakti Paritam Ashnami Priyatatmanam. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Bhagavad Gita 9:26. One can meditate upon the Lord anywhere and everywhere. Thus, Prahlad Maharaj advised his sons, advised his friends, the sons of the demons, to take this path back home, back to Godhead without difficulty.
Pitanam Pavani Krishna Chaitanya Nivasati Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare Ram.
History of the translation. Thanks again. Oh, my friends, sons of the Soros, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his Supersoul feature always exists within the cores of the hearts of all living entities. Indeed, he is the well-wisher and friend of all living entities, and there is no difficulty in worshiping the Lord. Why, then, should people not engage in his devotional service? Why are they so addicted to unnecessarily producing artificial paraphernalia for sense gratification? So the illusory energy or Maya is very powerful, as we hear from the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna, he says, that this, he says that this divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is very difficult to overcome. But those who surrender unto me can easily cross beyond it. So mine is very strong. Anyone who has tried to practice Krishna consciousness for some time, some good amount of time, can understand that. It's not a difficult thing to understand. And one may have practical experience with that Maya's very strong. Of course, again, if one surrenders to Krishna, then one can easily cross beyond Maya. Of course, when we talk about surrendering to Krishna, it means to really surrender to the spiritual master, the representative of Krishna. And to surrender to the spiritual master means to follow the instructions. And the main process for this particular age, as we've heard many times, is the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. We just did a short Harinam, about 30 minutes around, up around. And I have to say that was my first time doing a Harinam before a Bhagavatam class. Maybe they do it other places in the world, I'm not sure. Means a Harinam out for the public.
In Pune we do.
Oh, yeah? You go out in public and you come back? Okay.
Before
nice.
Bhagavatam.
Nice. I mean, they do parikrama around Krishna Balaram and other temples like that, but not so much going out. So that was nice. And it's a Kadashi, so it reminded me of Vrindavan parikrama, because on Kadashi they go out and chant. So that was nice. So that's the process. To chant sincerely, seriously, avoiding the 10 offenses, and at least trying to avoid the 10 offenses. It's very important. Very important to if we're not chanting purely, we should try to be chanting purely. That's an important stage. So yes, Maya is very strong, but Krishna is stronger, and if we take shelter of Krishna, he will save us. He will deliver us. But we have to be very careful because, again, Maya is like the supreme con artist or trickster. She has so many different, it's an American saying, but they say you have so many tricks up your sleeve. That's insane.
What is that?
So many tricks up your sleeve means, this is what you could kind of tell you. Tricks up your sleeve means like magic tricks. People they say, oh, I produce some gold, I produce some this or that. It's okay, I think. So then, but it's really up their sleeve, like a trick. It's there in their sleeve. That's like so Maya has so many tricks. And if she doesn't catch a soul from this trick, then she'll try this one, this one, this one, this one. This is her, as Srila Prabhupada would say, thankless task. It's a very difficult service. Sometimes we think we have a difficult service. We're cooking, or we're cleaning, or we're doing this, or doing that. We think, oh, this is very difficult. But Maya has a very difficult service. We try to bewilder all the souls, or to test them. That's the idea. That's a very difficult service she has. So she's like a trickster. In relation to this, I heard when the devotee said that there's this short, I think it's coming from Christian world, but we could relate it to Krishna consciousness that in Christianity they have, instead of Maya, they have Satan or the devil. Right? So and it's a similar principle. The devil is Satan is trying to get people and trying to help them forget God and so on. So one time the devil approached this man and he said, why don't you come down and you could take a tour of hell? It's not so bad, actually. That's what Satan was saying. It gets a bad rap, or it gets a bad promotion, but it's not so bad. You don't have to stay there if you don't like it, you can leave, but you can come down and check it out. So then the man said, okay, sure, I'll come down. So he came down to hell, went down to hell, and he was there, and it was nice. He was sitting back and they were bringing him, I mean, all of you are pious Vaishnavas, so, nice devotees, so you may not be familiar with this. But they're bringing him all types of pina coladas, pina colada. Pina colada means it's an alcohol beverage. They mix pineapple juice with some type of alcohol. You could have it non-alcoholic too. It's non-alcoholic pina colada. It's actually coconut milk and pineapple, and then they add some alcohol. But as a devotee, you could have coconut and pineapple. So, but he was having the alcoholic version. So he's sitting there drinking his pina coladas, and he's hanging out by the pool, and nice weather, and all types of beautiful people around. He's having a good time. So, so then the devil comes to him and he says, "So how are you liking it?" And he said, "Oh, and then the guy said, "I'm liking it very much. This is nice. It's like a perpetual vacation. I'm having a good time." And the devil said, "Okay, great. Then sign this contract." And then the man said, "Okay, sure, no problem." So he signed the contract. He put his name there. All right, I'm signing up. I'm a resident of hell now. So then right after he signed it, say he left, and then these guys came out. These kind of scary Yamaduta type of guys. They come out and they take him and say, "Okay, now you're coming with us." And then the guy's like, he's like, "Oh, where's my pina coladas? Where's the beautiful people, this and that, I'm here to enjoy it." And then the guys say, "Oh," he said, "all of that stuff, the pina colada, all these things, that's for the visitors. So now you're a resident." So in this way, it demonstrates that Satan, and Krishna consciousness, we want to say Maya, tricks us. "Oh yeah, just come enjoy, and no problem. And, oh, just sign your name right here." And you sign your name. In other words, you commit, or we commit to Maya's plan for us, and then we suffer. That's the good. So you have to be careful. So Maya's a great trickster. Now, sometimes people they want to trick God. In other words, they want to cheat Krishna by so many different methods, in different ways. Srila Prabhupada tells the story, or actually it's, what happened was at one particular time there was this yogi. His name was Guru Maharajji. And he just outright claimed that he was God. He was Krishna in a very gross way. So sometimes these reporters, they would ask Srila Prabhupada questions. So they asked Prabhupada, "What do you think about Guru Maharajji?" And then Prabhupada said, "Oh, we don't have anything to say about him. We're not talking about him." And then the reporter, he felt some good story coming on. So he said, "No, please tell us." Because the reporters are always trying to get a good story. No, tell us, what do you think about Guru Maharajji?" And then Srila Prabhupada said, "Oh, Guru Maharajji, he's a rascal, he's a fool." And he said, "He's claiming to be Krishna. And he's a cheater, and he's claiming to be Krishna. But he should understand that Krishna is the greatest cheater. And Krishna, he'll win." That's what he said. And then, the reporters, they're all writing down, "Okay, he's Swami Bhaktivedanta saying Guru Maharaj is a cheater." Write it down. And shortly after that, Guru Maharaj, because he was preaching in America. So he had so many American followers worshiping him as God, Krishna, somehow or other. So he had women followers, men followers. So he became attracted to one of the, women, American women, and he ended up marrying her. That's what it is, married. And then his mother heard about this.
Guru Maharaj's mother.
Yeah, Guru Maharaj's mother, she heard that her son married an American girl. She wasn't so happy about that. I guess for different reasons. And so then what she did is she made a public announcement, and it went into the newspaper, right? And she said, my son, Guru Maharajji, he is not Krishna anymore. He's not God anymore. But my other son, he's God. He's Bhagavan. So she just transferred the power to her other son. Thank you. So some people, they try to cheat God. So, oh, I'm God, or you're God, or we're all God, or they try to engage in religious activity or spiritual activity. And they try to get the pure results of God consciousness or Krishna consciousness without really surrendering. They want the benefit without putting in the work. Sometimes people are like that. They want to enjoy all the benefits without putting the work. So again, there's a little short story from the Christian world about this, that there's this man who's walking across the street. And well, first of all, he heard that if he gives a donation to the church, he'll go to heaven, right? So then he went and he gave a donation to the church, and then he went to the priest and he said, I just gave a $20 donation. Can you please give me the receipt? Of course, you think a receipt for $20 is not that much, but anyways, so then the priest said, oh, I'm really busy. It's a small donation. And then the guy said, no, I really want a receipt. Give me a receipt. So he got the receipt, put it in his pocket. And then he continued. And the guy was a real type of nonsense guy. For example, at that church, stealing from the donation box and all types of just, not a nice guy throughout his life. So then he died, and he's in line. He's waiting in line because there's like a line to get to heaven. That's the idea, right? So there's a line, and you have Saint Peter there. He's got, they call it the Book of Life. So people come up, and then Saint Peter's looking, and he's saying, okay, different people, you committed so many bad activities, you can't be allowed in heaven, you have to go to hell. Okay, you're allowed in. So he's there doing that. So then this guy gets to the front of the line, and and Peter's there, and he's looking at the Book of Life, and he's saying, oh, this is looking really bad. Like you did a lot of bad things. Like you're not going to be able to go to heaven. And then the guy started to complain. He said, what do you mean? I heard that if I give a donation to the church, I'll be allowed into heaven. So he's kind of fighting with Peter, Saint Peter. He's fighting with, and then he's holding up the line and everything. So then then Peter says, okay, fine, like I'll go speak with God and see what he says. So then Peter, he goes and he speaks with God. And then Peter says, dear God, we have this fellow out here. According to the Book of Life, he is a really bad guy. But he's saying that he gave a $20 donation. And he has the receipt. So he wants entrance. And then God, he's there, and he's thinks for a while, and he says, well, give him his $20 back and tell him to go to hell. Um, so this demonstrates that we can't cheat Krishna. We can't say, oh, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, and then I'm allowed entrance, or I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, then automatically I'll get the mercy of Krishna. It's a process. Bhakti yoga is a process that that depends on higher authorities by their inspiration and choice, giving us mercy. We cannot conquer Krishna by our own endeavors alone. We need special mercy. So that's what I did. Srila Prabhupada was one time at a person's house, like a life member's house in India. And he was a very nice person. And he was there with his family. And then Srila Prabhupada was there with his disciples. Prabhupada said something really heavy. So the man didn't hear it, but the disciples heard it. And Prabhupada, he pointed to the man and he said, you see that man over there? Nice man, nice Indian life member man. Hosting Srila Prabhupada and disciples. He said, you see that man over there? He said, he may follow all of his duties very nicely. But if he doesn't surrender to Krishna, if he doesn't develop a taste for Krishna consciousness, then he'll go to hell. It's real intense, actually. And it's an interesting conception because it's not good enough just to be good. Why? Because being good, one's mind could change. You're good today, but then you have some bad association, this, that, whatever, things change, and then you come back. So it's not a steady platform. Whereas bhakti, what's the difference between bhakti and being a good person? Bhakti allows one to be on a transcendental level or on a steady level of Krishna consciousness. So that's the difference. And that's what Srila Prabhupada was communicating there. Now, of course, for those practicing Krishna consciousness, they don't have anything to fear. There's great hope. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, who knows the verse? Starts with Ne.
Neha Vikramagashwari
Yes, and who would like to say what it means? Anyone can, whoever likes. Raghava Creek was pointing to you. Maybe you'll point to Raghava Creek. You do half of the verse, I'll do half of the verse.
I know this third and fourth.
Roughly, yeah.
Little bit endeavor on this path of self-realization can save you from the greatest danger. That is third and fourth line.
Just a little endeavor on this path, a little advancement on this path can save one from the greatest danger. And what is that danger? Means falling down into hellish conditions of life. So yeah, devotees don't have anything to fear. Have no fear. Krishna's here. There's one sticker like that in the kitchen when I joined on the door. Have no fear, Krishna's here. So devotees have nothing to fear. Because even a little advancement on this path can save one. Just like a Jamil. He was a nice person, he was a good person. He was also devoted to Narayan. He was Narayan conscious, God conscious, Krishna conscious. But just a slight deviation. He went out to collect wood for his spiritual master. They're doing so many yajnas and firewood, cooking wood, this and that. So he went to collect wood for his spiritual master, And then he just was out there and he just saw these two, this woman, this man, low class couple embracing, and he couldn't get her out of his mind. I mean, Srila Prabhupada writes in that eternal pastime that such occurrences are extremely common in Kali Yuga. I mean, walking up to, you look right, you look left, you look up, you look down, like wherever you look, you'll see such things. So Srila Prabhupada said we have to take shelter of the holy name. He's saying, but so he couldn't get this woman out of his mind. He was married also. So he moved her into the house. She became like a servant there. And then eventually he told his wife, leave. And then he accepted her, this low-class woman. And he said he did so many sinful activities to maintain her and the family, all the way up to the age of 80, having children. Real, like, absolute Griha maybe. Completely forgot Krishna. So he's there on his deathbed, right? Time of death. And then, of course, who comes? The Yamadutas come. They say, okay, this is very clear. It's clear as day where this person's gone. But then the Vishnu Dutas come and say it. Because what did he do when he saw the Yamadutas? Called out, Narayan, right? He wasn't calling to Krishna or Narayan, he's calling to his son. The Charyas mentioned that there was some remembrance back of his mind, but he's calling to his son. But on that basis, he was saved. He didn't have to go to the Yamadutas. So just a little advancement saved him. Just a little advancement. So that is the importance of training ourselves, of accepting training. Those who have children, or those who are going to have children, extreme responsibility to very carefully train their children as much as possible before they reach 18 and go on with what they're doing. And mostly the training of parents is from personal example. Children imitate adults. I'm staying with Purushottama and Priya. And they have little Gaurangi and Gaurang, so they just imitate. I was saying something and then Gaurangi started repeating. Imitate. So if the best thing parents could do for their children is to become pure devotees, or try to become pure devotees of Krishna, and then the children will automatically make advancement in that way. So yeah, he was saved. He wasn't delivered. He didn't reach the goal, Krishna Prema. Of course, he did go to Haridwar and he practiced his austerities and chanting and so on, and he did attain perfection, but not immediately. So of course, we're not salvationists. The Hare Krishna devotees, we're not salvationists. We're not after our own salvation. The impersonal yogis, they're after salvation into the Brahma Jyoti. The materialists, they want salvation from their suffering, which they don't get actually. Most religious paths that are outlined, they're into salvation. But devotees, we're not into that. We're into Krishna prema. We're into serving Krishna with great love and devotion. That is our process, and that is our goal. To patram pusham phalam yome bhakti prachati. So if we just offer with all of our sincerity, whatever we have to Krishna, he will accept. He's the best, well-wishing friend of all living entities. And he is extremely kind, the most kind. You cannot find anyone more kinder than Krishna. And therefore, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, don't hesitate. Why are you hesitating? Why are people not engaged in devotional service? one of the reasons is people don't understand Krishna and his mercy. So the more we could understand, the more we'll be inclined to surrender to Krishna. So therefore, it's very important. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, to hear, to chant about Krishna. And this way we understand the mercy of Krishna. Like Putanam, who forgives someone who tries to kill them. What to speak of saves them. What to speak of give them the highest thing ever. It's only Krishna. So he just takes the good, whatever good. It's good news. He takes the good and he just leaves the bad aside. He's very merciful. Okay, so does anybody have any question, comment? Yes. And I'm sorry, what is your name?
Part.
Bart, okay, nice to meet you. Okay.
So in the lecture, at some point you were mentioning about the how it's Krishna, like no one can cheat Krishna,
Yes,
and to like to go like uplift from this illusion energy, serve to
yes,
get their blessings.
yes,
That's in the secret. So I'm wondering, there are two things happens. One thing is like my times we meet devotees. We ask them, please pray for me.
yes,
We just ask them with special time to pray for me. This one type of blessings we can
yes,
ask for. Other interesting is like we are not asking any prayers, we are just serving them,
yes,
trying to please them.
yes.
What is the thought for like the second thing which is just pleasing? That's the real mercy. That's the real way of like pleasing you.
Right.
Getting the
Service.
Serving, yeah.
What's the potential of the first part? When
From frame?
just we are requesting, we're not doing service to them.
Yeah. Well, we should do both. I'll repeat the question. So Bart is saying, Bart is saying that, okay, we need to surrender to Krishna. Maya is very strong, so we should surrender to Krishna in order to become free. In order to do that, we should serve devotees. So sometimes there's these two things. We ask devotees, will you pray for me? It's an important thing, actually, to ask. And another thing is we serve devotees. So then Part's asking, because one's like kind of passive in a sense, you're not doing anything for the person.
We ask this superficially, the blessing also superficially.
You're saying what?
Like it's like a sort of they're asking for superficially.
Superficially,
They also like praise for superficially.
superficially.
Serving like more generally the blessing.
Yeah, so Part's saying that if we're serving, it's kind of like forcing us to give up our false ego, and we're serving someone, and it could be seen as more genuine. But if we're just asking, please pray for me, it could be seen as superficial. And then the person who will say, yeah, I'll pray for you, that could also be superficial. Yeah, it's a good point. Actually, we should do both, but we shouldn't ask devotees to pray for us superficially. We should ask devotees to pray for us seriously. And we should serve devotees seriously. We should do both, and they're both important. Because the Nectar Devotion explains that we can get the mercy of devotees one way is by serving them, hearing from them, and so on. But another way is that if they're wishing us well, which frankly means they're praying for us, or they have prayed for us. Okay. So we should do both seriously. They're both important. There's a nice quote. I mentioned it yesterday, so it's coming up again. So I mentioned it to a couple of devotees, but I'll mention it to all of you now. There's a quote found in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. I read it years ago, then I lost it, and then I was reading Chaitanya Bhagavat and I came across it. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's commentary. He quotes his father, Thakur Bhaktivinoda. And there, in the quote, Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, I will go with straw between my teeth. You know, it's a sign of humility. I will go with straw between my teeth, and I will go to a Vaishnav, and I will submit my fallen condition. I cannot remember Krishna. I have so many material desires and attachments. I have no faith, whatever it may be. And I will go and I will submit my fallen condition to this Vaishnava. And hearing me and seeing my pathetic condition, the Vaishnava will profusely offer prayers to Krishna on my behalf. And surely Krishna will hear those prayers and he will do something. So that's the principle that's a guru principle. The guru is praying for the disciple, wishing the disciple well. And this is the form of blessings. And it does have effect because that person is intimately connected to Krishna. If you want to talk to the president of the United States or whatever big leader, world leader, if you know somebody who's close to that person could easily speak to that person. You just say, please tell the president this. If you try to contact, if I try to contact the president, I'm not getting far at all. But if I reach out to, I know somebody who knows him, then, so it's a similar principle with the Guru and Vaishnavas. We accept they're close to Krishna, so Krishna will hear them. But we should do that sincerely. I remember there's this one Prabhupada disciple, he would give class, and he would say, please, all you Vaishnavas, you pray for me. You pray for us that we hear the Bhagavatam nicely, and we have a very successful Srimad Bhagavatam Katha when he was giving the class. So then the devotees, he'd say, okay, please pray for me. So then after one class, the Prabhupada disciple, he said, so how many of you prayed for me? And, a few devotees raised their hand and a few devotees didn't. And this, Prabhupada disciple was a little fiery. And he said, I told you to pray for me. You didn't pray for me. So it was demonstrating an interesting thing that when somebody says, please pray for me, we should note it down and we should pray for them. And there are devotees who, like I remember, there's one devotee, she's a Prabhupada disciple, Chatura Mataji, she's in San Diego. But she told me one day, which was very, it's very nice. She said, yes, there's many people, when I do my puja in the morning, and they're singing to him, so I'm praying for them. I have like a list of people, and she said, I'm also praying for you. I said, okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I need as many blessings as I could get. When I visited Guyana, South America, the top of South America, there's this one devotee, Sanjay Babu, and he told me, he said publicly, and we were at a home program, and he said, very jolly devotee, and he said, yes, I am praying for Balaram, me, us. And he said, I am chanting one extra round for him until he takes sannyas. So I thought that was very nice of him. I didn't ask him to do it, and it was his kindness. Very kind. So we could go about it different ways, but if we're the one asking for prayers, we should really be sincere about it. And if we're the one who is being asked, to pray for, we should also be sincere about it. But we should also actively serve. So both. And what is the result of this? Shu Shu Sho Shabdanasya Vasudeva Kata Ruchi Sam Mahaseva Vipra. By serving those great souls who are completely free from vice, vice means like going to casino or drinking this, whatever it is, but who are completely free from vice, great service is done. And one attains taste, one attains attraction Fourth, the messages of Krishna, which is the defining characteristic of a Vaishnava, that they have taste for Krishna consciousness. So we will get that by serving great devotees. That's the benefit. Out of all the 26 qualities of a devotee, the most important quality is the surrender to Krishna, because from that all those qualities come. So yeah, we'll get that inspiration. So, all right, any last? Yes, or one and two. Yes.
Maybe for the stars, you are speaking about this Neha Vikramanashwasti, the case of, for example, Ajami. I was just looking up that verse, and even in the purple Gopal gives the same. He speaks about Ajami past and
Yes, that's
the
true.
dangerous type of. I wanted to hear from you, like, this is one very clearly defined what is most dangerous type of fear. What other most dangerous type of fear will be put have? Because at the end, fear is also dependent on what one is attached to,
Mhm.
based on consciousness
Mhm.
and how much they are spiritually involved.
Mhm.
So, what all constitute most dangerous type of fear?
So the most dangerous type of fear, okay, it means, so yeah, the question is, Neha Bhikamanas is being indicate that if we engage in even a little Krishna consciousness, it will save us from the greatest type of fear. So what other, besides going into hellish forms and this and that, what other types of dangerous types of fear are there for devotees? So Srila Prabhupada, kind of chiding his American and European disciples specifically. He said the problem with which at the time, I mean, it was majority, American and European disciples. So that's what mostly he was dealing with. There were some Indian devotees, but not many. But so he said the problem with my American and European disciples is that they do not fear Maya in them. They're not scared of Maya. So the greatest fear for a devotee is to fall into Maya, to fall into illusion. And what does that mean practically? It means that we forget Krishna. We forget who we are. We forget the goal of life. We lose our attraction for Krishna. That's the greatest fear. Just imagine one day you wake up and you just have no attraction for Krishna. They say, you want to come to the temple? You say, no. You want to chant Hare Krishna? No. You want prasadam? No. I don't want any of it. I have no attraction. So just to think about it, it's just, because devotees, they become very attached to Krishna consciousness, chanting their rounds, so on. They can't think about not doing it. This is part of their life. This is what they do. So to lose that attraction, which is the greatest thing actually, then that's devotees are fearful of that. Therefore, they're careful. Therefore, they try to avoid aparad, which has been analyzed. One of Bhakti Tirtha Swami's books, he talks about aparad, which means apa means without, and radha, without Radharani's mercy. So we commit offenses and we lose Radharani's mercy. I mean, how are we ever going to be successful by losing Radharani's mercy? She's the queen of, Vrindavan, which is Bhakti. It's impossible to be successful without her mercy. And out of the worst of all the offenses, of all the offenses you could commit, we could commit, the worst is Vaishnava. That's the worst. Like you have the bhakti creeper growing, which is supposed to produce the fruit of love of Godhead. And then it's growing, and then Vaishnava Parad means a huge elephant, powerful, strong, don't mess with an elephant. They have a saying, right? What is it? Where does an elephant go? Wherever he wants, We can move wherever he wants. So an elephant comes, which is like Vaishnava Parad, and then just just tramples that bhakti kripa. So you have to be very careful. Instead, we serve the devotees. So those are some of the things: losing attraction to Krishna, falling to Maya. Those are the main things.
So we sorry to follow that. In this verse, that Krishna says that you put up. And why do in that case still devotees commit aparadhas and then or move away from association of devotees? Given that when Krishna is saying that he is going to protect us.
Well, Krishna will protect us, but there is some fine print in that, and that we also have to do our part. Krishna can tolerate offenses towards himself, but he has a difficult time tolerating offenses towards his devotees. Just like the examples given that the sun shining, you could tolerate on your head, I mean, more or less, but your feet burning, like barefoot, you can't tolerate that. So the devotees are always at the feet of Krishna. That's an example. Krishna could tolerate, but the devotees, you can't tolerate that. And the specific result of offending devotees, as we see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pastime of Ramchandra and Ishwar Puri, the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya. And you have Ramchandra Puri, and you have you have Madhavendra Puri, the spiritual master, and then you have Ishwar Puri, and then you have Ramchandra Puri, the two disciples serving Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri is there lying on his disappearance bed, and he's lamenting, I have not attained Krishna. Practically, that's what he's saying. I have not attained Krishna, the Lord of my life. And then Ramchandra comes, one of his disciples, and he says, Gurudev, why are you lamenting? And the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what does he say? What's the verse? Nishochiti Nakamshiti, how does it start?
Brahmabhuta
Brahmabhuta Prasadam Nishochiti Nakamshiti. Those who are advanced, they don't lament. Why are you lamenting? And then he went even further. Just meditate on Brahma. And then Madhavendra Puri, he was lying there and he just said, get out, you sinful rascal. And he said, if I die seeing your face, I don't know where I'll go. Get out. And then he says he was denounced by his spiritual master. And he became a critic and offender of all Vaishnavas. And then on the other hand, you have Ishwar Puri. He's very humbly serving his guru, says clean up his stool and his urine. He was helping him remember Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna. And then he became a great lover of Krishna on the highest platform of Krishna consciousness and an ocean of love of Godhead. And he became so advanced, he was a spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you have this, so these two examples are to teach the world the effects of Vaishnava aparadha. What is the effects of serving a Vaishnava? What are the effects of offending? Ramchandra Puri, he went on to Puri. And he was criticizing all the Vaishnavas. He would invite devotees and he would say, please take your prasadam. Make some nice rice and dal and sabji and sweets. Take. And he would feed them. Pass the net, to hear him. And then he would, after he was done, he would say, just see. I have heard that the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they overeat, they take too much prasadam, and now I'm seeing it with my own eyes. He was the one encouraging them. He went even further to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he saw some ants in his hut, Mahaprabhu's hut. And he's looking down, he's pointing at the ants, he's saying, these ants, they're here. From this, I understand that you are keeping sweets. And a sannyasi should not do that. So he's criticizing Lord Chaitanya. Can you believe it? And the devotees are really angry. All the devotees. Mahaprabhu cut his eating in half. they're all wondering when is Ramchandra going to leave Puri. Eventually he left Puri and then you don't hear about him actually. So, but Ishwara Puri on the other hand is, the great Vaishnava and spiritual master of Rachel and stuff. So we have to be careful. You don't want to. Okay, just one last.
Just add one small comment in that
Okay.
purport. Srila Prabhupada says that even if one isn't alone, you can still take shelter of the Paramatma in fact.
Yes.
In Krishna consciousness, one of our core principles is association of devotees. So
Yes.
is Prabhupada referring to a situation where we are in a place where there is no temple, no devotees, still we should not feel discouraged, and is that?
Yes.
No.
I mean, yeah, as you're saying, what was your name?
We know.
We know, okay, sure. So as you're saying that, Prabhupada writes in the purport that Krishna consciousness is so easy that even if one's alone, they just meditate on the super soul, but we have this principle of sadhu sangha associated with devotees. Yeah, you could say this is rare circumstances. I mean, there may be times when devotees are alone, they're traveling or this or that or whatever it may be. And as Srila Prabhupada says, a Vaishnava never feels that they're alone. They always feel the direct presence of Krishna, that's the spiritual master. So yes, I mean, the main thing is to be in the company of devotees, but Srila Prabhupada saying that even if you're not, if due to some emergency situation or some weird situation, whatever it may be, still you can meditate on super stuff. Which he's making the point that it's so easy. If you want to do all these other things, you gotta make a bunch of money, you gotta go to Las Vegas, you gotta whatever, do so many things to try to, enjoy materially, but you just meditate on the super soul, it's there. So that's
Yeah, basically there is no dependency on so many external factors.
Yes.
Like materialistic people are surrounded by so many people. They want to have some acquaintances and this and that.
Yes.
Then they will get some kind of gain, better gain.
Yeah.
Devotee may be alone, not be much.
Yeah, it's not, as Raghava was saying, that it's not dependent on any external factors, your advancement in Krishna consciousness, whereas material, it's completely based on externals. How much money's in your wallet, who are people surrounding you, in terms of your enjoyment. So Krishna consciousness, it's so simple, you just meditate with super soul. All right, so it's getting a little late, so thank you very much. Grant Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
jai.